What's up guys, FlamingVictini here, and it feels so good to be back. Today I've got for you my week 1 SPL 9 match against Poek. Now, I actually very recently played Poek for the Smogon Championships and playoffs, and in that series, Poek beat me pretty convincingly 2-0. So this is my chance to sort of even the score a little bit in SPL. So my team is actually very similar to what I was going to bring for my third game for Smogon Championship. I made one change, that's it. And I wouldn't be surprised if Poek's team is also his planned Game 3 team for Smogon Championship. So my team is very offensive, and it's based around this physical, offensively sweeping core of Zygarde and Gyarados. So my Zygarde is a set I like to call the GOAT Zygarde because it can beat so many Pokemon that normally counter it. So it's Aqua Berry, which heals Zygarde by 50% when it's at 25% or less. Dragon Dance, Coil, Substitute, Thousand Arrows. And this set is really dangerous. In the amount of bulk, with the right EV investments, you get a lot of speed, a really respectable amount of speed, a good amount of attack, and a lot of surprising bulk. Especially with that Pinch Berry, you can beat things like Assault Vest Tapu Bulu. Assault Vest Tapu Bulu becomes setup fodder. You can beat Clefable, physically defensive Clefable. It's a very dangerous set, and I really wanted to use it because Poek has been very weak to it. And the partner I paired with it was DD Gyarados, Moxie with Supersonic Sky Strike, Z-Bounce, and Taunt. I taunt to help break stuff better. But yeah, so like this core is really strong. One thing that I really like about it is in terms of like physical, like offensive pressure, obviously like they both are dangerous sweepers, but I also like how they can sort of set up on each other's like checks. Like a very healthy HP Icelando T, I wouldn't really want to go in with Zygarde in yet, but Gyarados can very easily abuse that Lando T to set up. And looking at Poek's team, he is very weak to both of Zygarde and Gyarados. I've got Scarf Kartana to help clean stuff up and take advantage of physical defensively Mons being weakened heavily. I've got defensive Lando T with my rocks, Ave and Magearna to kind of hold the team together, and Gengar. Gengar is a really interesting choice. So it's to absorb T-Spikes to help out Zygarde, and to just put a different kind of offensive pressure that helps me deal with stuff that's sort of annoying, like Zapdos, things of the like. HPI Zapdos can be quite annoying to my team. And I actually got a really neat tech on it. So it's Metronome Gengar, which allows me, the reason I'm not using Choiced Gengar is because Tyranitar has become so common now that running Choiced Gengar is very quite dangerous, but non-Choiced Gengar can put in a ton of work. So as you can see, Poek's team also is pretty weak to Gengar. Not much can take it on if I click all the right moves. And I've also got Hypnosis. Hypnosis is sort of a way to help Gengar break through really annoying cores like Zapdos plus Gastrodon to this team. It's very uncommon, but really annoying to break. Sometimes Toxapex can get annoying, and also just like getting setup opportunities. And I've got Cursed Body as well, which helps me get setup opportunities as well, especially versus Choiced Mons and things of the like. So yeah, looking at Poek's team, it's a fairly standard sort of team. Almost reminds me of an Oras team if the Greninja was like a Keldeo or something like that. But so looking at his team, now I see lots of different options for Heatran, Lando, Ferrothorn. I'm expecting T-Tar to be choice banded, and this is were to either be like SD set or a defog set, but just some sort of bulky set in general. Now, looking at his team, he seems very weak to Zygarde without a defensive Lando T. So my initial guess would be that his Lando T would be defensive Rocks, or yeah, it would be. I thought it would be defensive Rocks. Greninja would be Scarf. Ferrothorn would be Spiker, and Heatran would be like some offensive Z, or the alternative would be that Lando would maybe be, maybe if he was worried about hazards, his Lando would be Defog, his Ferrothorn would have like Rocks and Spikes, or maybe just Spikes and Heatran has Rocks, and that makes Scizor have SD, and then Greninja would still be Scarf. The alternative is that his Lando is Scarf, which would mean his Greninja is Specs, Ferrothorn is going to be the rock, or maybe has actually Greninja would have spikes, so Ferrothorn would just be rocks, and Heatran would be an offensive set. So I was going in with this mindset that Greninja is going to be Scarf. That was my initial guess. It seemed the most likely, even though Scarf Greninja is not that common. So I lead off with the Landos, and his Intimidate goes off first, so I know he's a faster Landorus. Now, for me, I can either use Stealth Rocks or HP Ice. If I use Stealth Rocks, I get up my hazards, but it doesn't really help me that much versus Poek. Like, Chip is always nice, but it's not so huge, whereas getting an HP Ice on the Landorus is really big for my team. It helps out a lot of my Mons, especially Zygarde. So seeing he was faster, I wanted to make sure I could at least get one HP Ice on him, because if I go for Rocks and he goes for HP Ice, he can take me out with another one, and I'm sort of pushed to switch. So normally it would still be fine though, because I can go to my Gyarados and use Lando as a setup fodder, but I wasn't entirely sure about that sequence, and I really wanted the HP Ice damage because I thought that would be a better outcome. So I went for the HP Ice, as he actually shows that he's Scarf Landorus, and going to be Specs Ash Greninja then in this case. So I go for the HP Ice, it just gets a little chip on Gren, and he goes for the spikes, predicting my switch out. Now right here, let me just back this up actually. So with this Magearna in on the Greninja, now the Greninja is locked into spikes, and I can go for a Volt Switch pretty easily and just pivot back out. And I'm expecting him to go to Heatran or Ferrothorn, but he could also make a very aggressive play and go to Lando, because Volt Switch is such an obvious play. And if he pulls off an aggressive play of this sort, he puts me in a really weird situation, and it's just something I want to avoid. And I don't think the Volt Switch chip will be that crucial, so I'm just going to pull a hard double into my Landorus. And this just gives, like, in this case, since you went to Ferrothorn, Volt Switch damage is going to get negated by lefties anyway. So I get my Lando in, and we're just going to trade rocks. And I'm just going to start EQing this thing. I want to get some damage on it, because weakening it is nice, and I don't really want to switch out to anything on it. I don't want my Kartana to take damage, because it can help with late game Water Shuriken, and really nothing else I'd want to come in on it. He actually T-Waves, expecting the U-turn, then leeches and misses, which is convenient for me. It doesn't really matter that much, because I'm going to be out-damaging this Ferrothorn anyway, and I'm just trying to force it out. So right there, U-turn was a pretty obvious play, but I didn't feel the need that I needed to make the U-turn play to be in a winning position this game. And if he decided to stay in, and then I have to go to something and risk Leech Seed or T-Wave, like going to my Zygarde, going to my switching to anything is just a situation I want to avoid. So I decided just to EQ as he goes to Scizor, and I'm just going to U-turn as he roosts up back to full. Now right here, this Scizor is a threat. I have two main options. Coil Zygarde can sort of win, but I sort of want the jump on it. Same thing with Gyarados. I want the jump on it and the boost. So I'm going to go to Magearna, because it's the thing that can most solidly force this thing out right away. Now again, HP Fire is very obvious right here, and going for Volt Switch on this Heatran would be really nice. But if he stays in and SDs, I think I may just straight up lose the game on that turn. So I don't think the risk is worth it. I'm just gonna go for an HP Fire. Now right here I'm in a bit of a pickle, because I knew I'd boost his Magma Storm, but originally I was thinking I can just use this as an opportunity to set up my Gyarados anyway. I can just sack my Lando anyway just to get that free switch into Gyarados. But on second thought, I realized that, like, I know Gyarados is not going to fully sweep his team, because he has Sand, he has Priority, he has a Scarf Lando to get chip on me. So I don't expect to fully sweep his team with Gyarados. And I know that if I sack my Lando and my Gyarados, then his Scarf Landorus becomes a little bit more dangerous. So I decide I'm just going to pull a hard switch to Gyarados. I can live any move except for, like, a max roll Inferno Overdrive or something of the sorts. So I pulled a switch to Gyarados, and he actually goes for the Tectonic Rage, which is perfect, absolutely perfect. So I get my Gyarados without any damage. Because he values his Heatran highly, I expect him to switch out fully. I just go for the DD on the switch, and I just go for the Supersonic Sky Strike to take this Ferrothorn out and get my Moxie boost. And this is exactly why I didn't go to Gyarados on the Scizor, because just trying to set up on its face would not have worked. So I go for the waterfall. It turns out that he's actually knockoff this run. Actually does a pretty respectable amount of damage. So he's going to get the knockoff and the BP damage, and I'm going to take him out with a waterfall. Now I'm still out of range of water shuriken, so he's going to go to his Lando and go for the U-turn. Now the U-turn is not going to take me out, but he's going to go to his T-tar to get the sand up and to chip me down, and obviously so that I can't just go for another DD or something. Well, it's also going to put me in range of water shuriken. Now I'm just going to waterfall right here because I'll know I'll live the turn, and this allows me to switch my Gyarados out when his Greninja comes in to revenge me, and this means that later on in the game, if Greninja is in a position where I don't want it to get that Ash form, I can just sack my Gyarados and deny it the boost. So I'm going to go to my Magearna on the Water Shuriken, and he gets 3 hits right there. So my Magearna is getting weakened, so I don't really want to have to bring this in twice more. I'd rather just bring it in once more, and I'll still be able to check the Greninja. So right here, I'm just going to Volt Switch. I figured if he goes to Lando, I can just throw my own Lando in, and depending on what he does, I can respond accordingly. If he does something that brings Gran in, I can just sack my Gyarados and go from there, seeing what he's locked into. Because I still have my Zygarde as well to check it as well. So he goes to his Heatran, and I Volt Switch out, and this is the opportunity to bring in Zygarde. Now I think this is the one play in this game that I regret. From the Tectonic Rage, I know it's possible that he may have HP Ice Heatran, because with Tech Rage Tran, you don't really need Taunt as much to beat like Toxapex. And since I use a lot of mons that since my grounds generally are 4 times weak to ice, the grounds I use, I wouldn't be surprised if he was using HP Ice Heatran. That being said, I didn't expect him to be running HP Ice Heatran. I knew I would live in HP Ice on this turn. I calced that to make sure. But I didn't expect him to have it, so I thought right here I could just DD twice and then win the game. Turns out he does actually have HP Ice. And so he's going to do 71, my Agua Bear is going to activate back up to 61. This set is so insane. And he's going to go to his Lando so he can saving his Tran, that's fine. He's just going to go to his Lando and HP Ice me for the damage. To put me in Water Shuriken range, I'm going to take out his Lando, and then this is exactly why I saved my Gyarados, so I can sack the Gyarados here on the Water Shuriken. Now right here, Water Shuriken. Now I go to my Kartana. Reason I go to my Kartana, I can go to my Magearna, Volt Switch out, kill the Heatran, but then it'd have to be with my Kartana. The reason being, like, I don't want his Greninja to get that Ash form boost, because then it'll be able to knock out my Kartana. But without the Ash form boost, he needs 5 Water Shuriken hits, and all of them have to be either max or near max rolls, every single one, or he has to crit one of them. That's the only way my Kartana will die after taking spikes and rocks. So I'm feeling fairly confident here that things are going to go well. And well, let's see. The first Water Shuriken he crits. Set 2, 3, 4, oh my god, no, 5. Of course, right? Of course. Like, I was running calcs. I went to my Kartana, I clicked Sacred Sword, and I just ran calcs to see just what happens just in case he gets the condition where Kartana dies. And then I switch back to the game screen, and I see Kartana, the last Water Shuriken, take out Kartana. And right there, I was just like, oh my god, what did I do? I thought I had lost here. So I have only one way out now, and that is Cursed Body. So I'm going to go to my Magearna, force out the Gran, Volt Switch out of the Tran, go to my Gengar, and take this out with a Shadow Ball. And now it is time to pray for 30% chance of Cursed Body, which will disable Greninja's move. It'll be Choice Lock, so it'll be forced to struggle, and I can take it out. Now, Poek's best move here, Water Shuriken does take out everything on my team without a roll. Dark Pulse is a roll heavily in Poek's favor on my Magearna at its current health, but going for Water Shuriken gives me multiple chances to get a Cursed Body on him, and actually, it would be favoring me if he went for a Water Shuriken. It would be favoring me to win. So right here, he's going to go for the Dark Pulse, and thank God the Cursed Body activates. Cursed Body activates, and the game is saved. So he struggles, I live that, and knock him out with the Volt Switch. And oh my god, that was a really close game. I feel like it shouldn't have gotten that close, but Yeah, that had me at the edge of the seat. And the reason why now, this is in retrospect, I wouldn't have gone for the DDO and Zygarde. I would have kept my Zygarde very healthy, because Zygarde is a very viable check to a Greninja locked into Water Shuriken. So for example, if I'd kept my Zygarde healthy, all I did was 1,000 arrows and killed the Heatran, and he brings in his Lando, I can just do whatever. I can sack my Lando or something like that. See what he does with his because he's gonna bring in his Lando on my Zygarde. He does whatever, and I respond accordingly, and I have responses to every single thing he does. If he clicks Water Shuriken, I know Zygarde can take it, especially with that Aguav Berry, which will pop mid-attack. And if he doesn't go for Water Shuriken, then I know my Kartana can take it out pretty easily, and he doesn't have enough sacks left to get Gren in and out, switching the moves for the right scenarios. Plus, I would have kept my Magearna healthy because I wouldn't have been able to force to bring it in twice. So I think that's the only play in this game that I would change, was going for the 1,000 arrows on the Heatran instead of going for the Dragon Dance. But yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.